What tiara should Catherine, the Princess of Wales, wear next? That is the $50 million question because I am very much of the opinion and the hope that we shall see more of the British tiaras being taken out of the vault and the ladies playing with the pieces a bit more than they have. We've had an indication of it with Queen Camilla wearing not only the Grenville Emerald Kokoshnik tiara, but also the Aquamarine ribbon tiara, previously worn by Princess Eugenie and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, respectively. So I am very anxious and hopeful, especially with Catherine debuting the Strathmore Rose tiara just a couple of years ago, that maybe, just maybe, we will see some more on Catherine in the future. And I've had many ask, what tiaras should Catherine wear next? And I've compiled a list of some of the favorite options that I have for Catherine to wear from the British Royal Collections. So we are going to go over those and you let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. But if you guys haven't been to Royal Fashion News before, my name is Brittany and this is a channel for all those who have a passion for royal fashion. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, I would absolutely love to have you back. Do you need amazing skin this holiday season? Because we have the Forejo FAQ 202 silicone mask that you can get this Black Friday. Amazing Black Friday deals for sure as you get ready for the holidays. You can have so many different skin treatments here that can help you looking your best for this holiday season and all the parties, because you may have a cupcake pimple like I do right now. It is the result of cupcakes. So I am choosing the light treatment here from the FAQ 202 in blue that best fits my needs at the moment. So this is an FDA cleared silicone LED mask that has clinically proven results. So this mask has 8 different wavelengths like you saw, including an NIR that tackles, again, aging and other skin concerns. It's ultra lightweight and wireless, so you can be reading a book, let's say, on the antique church pew that I got from my parents and checking out the latest on royal jewels around the world without worrying about having to keep it charged or plugged in anywhere. It is made with a unique flexi-fit silicone that kind of molds to your face shape and for even light coverage. So there's eye protection for maximum security, so you don't really have to worry about your eyes getting damaged. You actually don't see it when I'm on, like I don't really actually see the light very much. It has a unique design. There's just nothing else like it. It is the most complete mask that you will find out there. It has a powerful, again, anti-aging longevity combo. We have so many different light coverages here, 8 wavelengths that target so many different skin concerns with a powerful anti-aging pro-longevity effect. And this is boosts collagen production. It reduces dark spots, acne, like my cupcake pimple, redness and dullness, and even enhances overall radiance. So it provides a professional at-home treatment for every stage, every concern, and every skin mood. And it strengthens all these different layers of skin, so it boosts the skin's natural healing processes. Skin is smoother, softer, and less dull, which I feel like you can see even a little bit here. It reduces wrinkles and fine lines. Skin tone is more even, less sunspots, which I'm starting to develop. Oh, the joys of getting older, right? Pores are minimized, reduces redness, and has clinically proven results. Again, this is an absolutely fantastic piece to get this holiday season. Again, you can save 35% by using code ROYAL35, and you can also purchase the UFO3 here, which offers a different type of skin treatment. It is a heating and cooling face mask device with full LED spectrum, including red light therapy, deeply hydrates, massages, and revitalizes your skin in up to 2 minutes. So you can save 35% on this one as well. So guys, this is an amazing time to check out Forejo's Black Friday deals. Get a fantastic skin treatment option, whether it is the FAQ 202, the UFO3, or something else incredible that they offer. Check out the link down below. Use code ROYAL35 to save 35%. The link will also be up above. And most importantly, it is puppy approved. So obviously Catherine has access to Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara, which was famously worn by Diana, the Princess of Wales, Queen Elizabeth, and Queen Mary. And while it is a beautiful piece, it's a wonderful piece, it's an amazing piece, I tend to think it can get a bit boring after a while. I know some people don't like that, but it's just a thought process definitely I've had because I love seeing all the tiaras, not just one or two. And I love the idea of seeing more of the collection come out and see the ladies playing with more options. Because what I love about the Dutch, what I love about the Swedes is that we never know which tiara they're going to show up in because pretty much the entire jewelry box is theirs to play in. Now, of course, there are some exceptions, but the Brits have always very much been you are giving these pieces, you only wear these pieces, and that's sort of it. Now, I understand somewhat why it's good to, let's say, give Catherine a particular earring set, like the Grenville chandelier earrings, and she just wears those. I sort of get that. But when it comes to the tiara pieces, I think because they probably all reside in the same vault, I don't really see the issue with, let's say, somebody going in and going, I want this one. And then they put a new velvet base on and bada bing, bada boom, you have somebody wearing a new tiara like the Emerald Grenville kokoshnik tiara. But again, we've had a little bit of this with the Strathmore Rose, which I was so excited about and then so angry about because we didn't get good pictures of it. However, there are more in the vault we definitely want to see. But since I've mentioned it, one of the first ones I would love to see on Catherine again is the Strathmore Rose tiara. It was given to Queen Elizabeth, who at the time was the Duchess of York, by her parents. And it's a very sweet piece. I think it would be a great first tiara. I feel like almost Catherine has graduated past this particular tiara, but I think it's lovely to see it again. We had been told for many years it was too fragile to be worn, and so it was never sort of worn. But I think now, I think it would be a great time to debut it again. And if we get some really good pictures of it, some really great videos and everything, like Catherine dominated the coverage of the US state visit. And I think this could be the same for the German state visit, which again is on December 3rd. So we're doing this a bit early, but it just gets hopefully your brain tickled a bit about what the options could be. Now, another one I like, and good to mention too, is the Emerald kokoshnik. Now, obviously, this was first worn by Princess Eugenie. It was gifted as part of a bequeath to the crown by Lady Grenville, and it was a ton of pieces. Like the honeycomb tiara is from the Grenville collection, if I remember correctly. We also have necklaces, brooches, stomacher, earrings, all these sorts of things from this bequeathed collection. Because if you leave your, let's say, your jewelry to the crown, your family doesn't have to pay inheritance taxes on it. So this was a huge surprise when Princess Eugenie started walking down the aisle in this particular tiara because it wasn't even on anyone's list because no one knew this existed. Now, obviously, as well, it's been speculated that Meghan Markle wanted this particular tiara too, wanted to wear it. Obviously, that didn't happen. But I think Catherine would look great in this. It's a lower profile piece, but it's also a very substantial piece. You have that huge emerald in the top. Emeralds are a high value when it comes to gemstones. They're very soft. They're very limited. They're a gemstone that's a bit harder to find, a bit harder to manage and work with as well. And you have just that huge emerald in the piece. So I'm hoping that maybe we see Catherine in this as well. And it's not as slight to Eugenie for anybody to wear it. I just want to specify that because Eugenie never owned it in the first place. It was lent by Her Majesty the Queen, in that instance, Queen Elizabeth II, and can be worn by anyone else at this point. Another tiara we've seen recently that could be an option, and we won't spend too much time on it, is the Aquamarine ribbon tiara, which has previously mostly been worn by Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. It was also worn by Queen Elizabeth II, and Queen Camilla debuted it at the diplomatic reception last year. So again, I think this is a distinct possibility that Catherine could wear it at some point. If especially Queen Camilla, it might be given her age, she might not be enjoying, let's say, the heavier pieces quite as much. And so she might go with some of the lighter pieces. But I think that one would work well for Catherine too. And this is maybe a good point because some people will be throwing out, oh, the girls of Great Britain and Ireland. What about the Queen Alexandra kokoshnik? Or what about the Vladimir loop tiara? So there are particular tiaras within every collection that are reserved simply for the queen. So these are sets where, due to their either height, due to their substantive nature, due to their historic connections, are simply ones that are just always worn by the queen. And this exists in all royal households, pretty much. So the Dutch, for example, only Queen Maxima can wear the Stuart tiara. She is the only one who can wear it. It's the biggest in the collection. Actually has a 40-carat light blue diamond on top. That is reserved for her. In Sweden, and there's a couple more, but in Sweden, one of the ones is the Berganza tiara, the biggest in the collection, reserved for the queen. It actually has not been worn by anybody but the queen, unlike the Loschenberg sapphire, which has been worn by her sisters-in-law. So the Braganza is a special piece reserved just for the queen. And in some collections, their collections are so small that only really like everybody has to stick to particular tiara. So this is the difference with between Britain and other royal families is that Britain has such a large collection, the women can share because there's a lot to go around. In some families, things are reserved for this queen simply because if she lent it out, she wouldn't really have a substantial piece. So this is a case in Belgium with the 9 provinces tiara. It's the largest in the collection, most substantive, and like only the queen can wear it because if you give that tiara away, there's nothing bigger left. There's no big gun left. So that's particularly reserved for the queen. Pretty much all the other tiaras they share. We've seen her daughter definitely wear the Wolfers tiara. Can't remember if she's worn I don't think she's worn the Brabant lower wreath tiara yet, though. But another one is obviously in Spain, they had the Fleur de Lis tiara, which is only worn by the queen, and another one as well. And these are particular cases where, again, only the queen can wear these particular pieces. Once you graduate to that queenly level, then you can indulge. So Catherine is definitely not at that level yet. So again, there's some that she won't get to wear, but one of the ones I think is a lower profile enough that she could wear. However, it does delve a little bit into only the queen can wear it territory is the Queen Mary's Fringe tiara. So this was worn by Queen Elizabeth, then Princess Elizabeth on her wedding day, Princess Anne on her wedding day, and Princess Beatrice on her wedding day. So if you're not aware, those are the firstborn blood princesses of their generations, pretty much. So next woman to wear it at her wedding would be Princess Charlotte. However, I think this is an option open for Catherine as well. Catherine seems to wear some of the higher profile pieces well. I actually didn't really like the lotus flower tiara on Catherine. The Cartier halo is like, but I think she actually looked the best so far in the Lover's Knot. And the fringe tiaras and the Lover's Knots, they do have sort of a connection similar to the kokoshnik. So that is definitely a tiara option I think would be available for Catherine. A less likely option, but fits in the same vein, would be the Queen Adelaide's tiara. Now, granted, the Queen Adelaide's, fringe tiara is technically now just a necklace, but it did start off life as a tiara. And actually, the jewelry pieces belonged all the way back to George III. So it's a piece with a long history. You could make it back into tiara, although it might be a little bit fragile. But I think that would be cool to see too. But I would love to see Catherine in the Queen Mary's Fringe tiara while she's still the Princess of Wales. Another option, and this is one that will annoy a certain someone. And honestly, if Catherine did this on the same day as Meghan's show debut, like the internet would be ablaze, and that would be wearing the Queen Mary's bandeau tiara. So this was the one Meghan Markle wore on her wedding day. We hadn't seen it in many years. It's made up of diamonds and platinum, and I think it would be a cool piece to see again. Honestly, I would say maybe it's a little bit more Sophie level, but it's definitely something Catherine can and should wear, or somebody in the family can and should wear. This idea that there's some like bad juju connected with certain tiaras is just ridiculous. I think when it comes to that tiara, it was beautiful. It's a shame that it sort of got sort of this bad reputation, you could say, because Meghan Markle wore it and because people don't like her. But I think the Queen Mary's bandeau would be an amazing piece on Catherine. I would love to see it be busted out of the vault again. The middle element there is a brooch that can be removed. I'd be curious if they could, let's say, put a different stone in there. That would be fun too. That would be a way as well to kind of disassociate it from Meghan. And I just think it would be an awesome piece to see yet again. Again, Meghan Markle never owned it, didn't own it. If she was still a working member of the family, that might be the tiara she mostly wears, but she's not. So I say share it with others. Share it with others. And Catherine, if you want to wear it on the day of With Love Meghan, the holiday celebration debut, you are not that petty and you would never do it, but that would be kind of awesome. Just got to say that right now. All right, next we have, and this one is a bit of a question mark, Queen Mary's Diamond Lausanne tiara. So this one is a bit of a question mark because it was speculated last year by the Royal Watcher that this tiara had been sold to one of the Malaysian royal families. And I don't think I totally buy that because there's a lot of tiaras that were, let's say, mass produced and have similar cousins. Like I believe it's a Pearl Poirier tiara in Denmark actually had a twin out there at one point. They had made the same tiara. So sometimes the houses would make multiple of the same tiara, probably usually no more than two or three. So the idea that it was sold to Malaysia and they don't have any record of it belonging to the British royal family, I think is a little suspect. I guess apparently they bought it in New York, but it is entirely possible that this piece was sold. However, it would be just fun to see like a big surprise, like you're not anticipating it, and all of a sudden, bam, there it is. And you're like, ah, I didn't know it was still there. Yay, yay. That would be awesome. It also had pearl elements that you could add in on top. So again, what I would like to see, and unfortunately, I don't think Catherine is very much of a, let's say, a big jewelry lover. Her jewelry, you will notice, her personal taste in jewelry is very, very understated. I mean, honestly, I think if, let's say, if it was different circumstances, although she loves her engagement ring, I think if, like, in her personal time, while she was recovering from her cancer, she took off the big engagement ring and just had the eternity bands. I think she prefers lower profile jewelry. So I don't think she has, let's say, that Maxima-esque desire to play with the collection, or Sylvia-esque. Sylvia Sweden has very much played with her collection. Queen Maxima has been very engaged in her collection, and Amalia has a great interest in the jewelry as well. Because yes, some people will say, and I hate this perspective, that, oh my gosh, they're showing off their wealth when they wear big pieces. Oh, it's so much money. Well, number one, the pieces were purchased oftentimes 100, if not hundreds of years ago. These are jewelry pieces that have been within the family. This is why we end all these videos with, you don't count the carats. You count the centuries. It is about the history of the jewelry, how it's moved through the women in the family. And I think if you come at it from that perspective, that it's not just about going, oh man, oh, I just look so wealthy. I mean, you are royalty. You're supposed to be wealthy. But these pieces are a historic connection to the family. They've run through the women in the family from Alexandra all the way down to Catherine, like, and then eventually Charlotte and whoever George marries. The jewelry moves through the women of the family through marriage and death and birth and all these sorts of things. I think that's something that should be celebrated and not trashed. I feel like some people want to trash that. They get angry at that. Oh my gosh, I can't feed my family in the UK. Well, vote in another politician. That is a politician's problem. It's not the royal family's problem. That stuff sort of drives me crazy. But we don't want to get into politics because that's not why we were here. So, what is the next tiara on the list I would love to see Catherine in? And we're going down again the Queen Mary's route. And I would say the Queen Mary's Russian bandeau. This piece had a big sapphire in the center, has been previously worn by Princess Margaret as well. I would love to see Catherine in this. I think this would be so cool. Obviously, with the sapphire connection too. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like envisioning it, guys. I'm envisioning the Catherine in the sapphire because she has a sapphire. It's a smaller profile sapphire piece. Oh my gosh, it would be amazing if she wore it. Like wearing that with like the sapphire choker and everything. Oh, it gets all the jewelry goosebumps going. So I think that would be absolutely amazing. Again, it's not a piece we've seen for a really, really long time. Previously, we've seen it on Princess Margaret. Queen Mary wore it at least one time, but we didn't see it. They got it obviously from the Russian imperial family. And so it's a gorgeous and amazing, amazing piece. And it would just be so lovely to see it again. So incredibly lovely. So I'm really, really hopeful that maybe, just maybe, this tiara once again sees the light of day if it's in the collection. Of course, some of these pieces could have been sold. We're not wishing that, but it is a possibility. But at the same time, especially in more modern eras, if you do sell a historic piece of jewelry, like that's a big, big deal. There was a whole case in the UK preventing the sale of Queen Victoria's sapphire coronet. That's why it's in the Victoria and Albert Museum. They blocked the sale. Like it was a big deal. And again, it goes back to, these are not just jewelry pieces. They're pieces of history, cultural heritage. And that's why I think tiaras overall must be protected in jewelry pieces. And unfortunately, of course, we had the case in France of the recent robbery in the Louvre, which is just, again, horrible. None of the pieces have ever been recovered so far. So hoping that does not turn out to be fully the case. But yeah, we're waiting to hear. But yes, Catherine, go into the sapphires. Go into the sapphires. Now, another option is the Teck Crescent tiara. Now, this one is going to be tricky because I think this one has quite a wide profile, and I'm not sure how big Catherine's head is. So it may be one where it just simply doesn't fit her. But when you look at pictures of it, especially ones that were provided in I think it's Hugh Jones's book about the Queen's diamonds, it's a really stunning piece and it's really interesting. It's unique. And for me, that's sort of what I love is how do you revitalize an older piece that, yes, maybe a little bit cumbersome, maybe difficult to wear, but if you can revitalize it and bring it back to life, why not? This tiara was obviously owned by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and was actually given to now Queen Camilla when she became the Duchess of Cornwall. She was actually given the Strathmore Rose and the Crescent Tack, and she didn't wear either of them. I don't think the Strathmore Rose really worked for her. The Crescent Tack, I think, actually would work well on Camilla because she has a big hairstyle. But again, if the frame of the tiara is too big, that does make it really cumbersome for people to wear. We actually had this case in Lady Melissa Percy's wedding. So she was a close friend of Chelsea Davy and the royals, and she wore the family's tiara and it was too big. Like it sat on her head right here, and you can like see the base. It looked terrible. And it reflects the fact that the tiara was just so big and the frame of it was so big. So you can have ones that are like this big and you have ones that are this big. Now I have a bigger head, so maybe most of them might fit me, but not everybody does. And so that is the big question about this whole thing is how big is a tiara? But would I love to see Catherine in it? Yes, absolutely. Catherine, bring it back. Bring it back. Now I did want to end with my favorite option. However, I did want to give you an interesting fact because I didn't realize this until I was reading about it in the Queen's Diamonds, but Lord Linney actually does own the Teck hoop necklace tiara. This was worn by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and I didn't realize Lord Linney actually owned this. So it is part of his personal collection. Now, what's interesting about that, again, is that, and it goes to our last option, and if you've been following me for a while, you know what my favorite option is for Catherine to wear. But I didn't realize that he owned that. And the question has always been, obviously, a lot of Princess Margaret's jewels had to be sold. Lord Linney is her son. So a lot of them had to be sold at auction. The Baltimore tiara was one of them, and some of the jewelry pieces given to her by family members, obviously her father and her mother, and those sorts of things. But the question was, we had tiaras that weren't part of that sale. So we had the lotus flower, we had obviously the Teck hoop, and then we had our final option here, which I won't share yet, but those weren't sold. So the question becomes, where do those pieces reside now? And I would argue that most likely it is either within his possession or, like the lotus flower, he's given it back to the crown. So if he is keeping the Teck hoop tiara, what I'm hopeful is that the tiara and the jewelry piece, it's the whole parade that he did give back to the crown, that I would love Catherine to wear is a Persian turquoise tiara. Yes, I know some people don't like turquoise, but I think it would be a stunning piece on the Princess of Wales. Really, truly, especially you consider Margaret's dark hair, Catherine's dark hair. I think the turquoise would really pop against the darkness of her brunette hair. I think it would be a lovely and amazing surprise for Catherine to wear it because it's one that, let's say, not everybody was anticipating and people had questions about. That's the exciting thing about the Strathmore Rose because sometimes people are like, was this sold? Is it still there? Is it still salvageable? And then it shows up on someone's head. There was actually that question with the Stuart tiara within the Dutch royal household because between the reigns of Queen Juliana and Queen Maxima, nobody had seen it because Princess Beatrix, who was formerly queen, she actually abdicates. It's a tradition in the Netherlands for the monarch to abdicate in favor of their heir. So when it comes to the Netherlands, many had thought that was possible that the Stuart tiara, the grandest, the greatest, the biggest of the collection, with a diamond that goes back to the 1700s, that perhaps it had been sold because nobody had seen it in so long. And then all of a sudden, it pops out on the head of Maxima. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. I feel like the same would be for Catherine wearing the Persian turquoise. Oh my gosh. I love the Persian turquoise. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so passionate about seeing this particular piece. So the Persian turquoise tiara, will give a little bit of a history here. We haven't done much with the history because I plan on doing more of that with an upcoming channel that's called Counting the Centuries. But the tiara was created by Gerards in the 1900s. It was acquired by Queen Mary. Queen Mary gave it to George and Queen Elizabeth, or the eventual Queen Elizabeth. So it was given when she was still the Duchess of York and not expected to take the crown. And then it was eventually given to Princess Margaret on the event of her 21st birthday. So Margaret did also as well bring some pieces into that collection that reflected that tiara. Some of those pieces were sold, but others were inherited by her children. But this initial parade, so the tiara, necklace, and brooch, none of it has been seen again. Now, again, we have the really interesting thought of Viscount Linney or Lord Linney that he has the Teck hoop. So, does he have the Persian turquoise as well? Or, much smarter, because it was acquired by Queen Mary, it has such a long history within the family, was that eventually given back to the crown? That is the question I want Catherine, the Princess of Wales, to answer for us, and hopefully answer for us on December 3rd for the state banquet. If she doesn't appear, I will be very, very sad, because I was rather sad she didn't attend the diplomatic reception. Of course, we do have the case where they went to the Royal Variety Show the next day. She gave a speech earlier in the day. So they might again be sort of trying to maintain her schedule and keep it at a certain level as she continues to recover from her surgery and cancer treatments. And so maybe, just maybe, she's keeping and maintaining all her tiara magic for December 3rd. And hopefully we shall see it then. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Farejo and their Black Friday deals. I think you will find something you absolutely love, especially the FAQ 202 LED mask. It's, again, something great that you can use to help revitalize your skin, guys. But thank you so much again for tuning in. Let me know what your favorite option is below. Maybe we'll try to put up a poll or something at some point. Let me know what you think, because I am anxious to see Catherine wear more. And maybe we'll do a video following up looking at maybe some of the general jewelry pieces she can wear that, again, we haven't seen in many, many years, if not decades. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in, for your support, and we shall speak again very soon. Bye.
We don't count the carats, we count the centuries.